Well, thank you, Teresita, for joining us in Special Collections at Vanderbilt University Libraries today. We're going to talk about book love.
Well, thank you for inviting me here. Muchas gracias.
De nada. Laura Miller wrote once that the first book we fall in love with changes us and shapes us every bit as much as the first person we fall in love with. And this works to affect how we make choices as adults. And I was wondering if you could share with us the first book you fell in love with.
Now, the first book that I remember was a Soviet book, because I grew up in Cuba, and in the 70s, most children's books were translations of what we call them Soviet books, Russian books. So I remember the title of the translation was Los Niños de la Nieve, the Children of the Snow. And I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember the author. Because at that time I wasn't paying much attention to authors. But I remember it was about a little village in the mountains, somewhere in Siberia, or who knows where. There were bears, osos, apples, and it was just a different universe. So that's the one that I remember. And they were so beautiful. And they were very well printed, nice paper, not like national production books. So that's the one that I remember as the first one.
Have you reread it?
Actually, no, I couldn't find it. I have asked my mother, who still lives in Cuba, for that book. I go, hazme favor, búscalo, look for it in the closet. We never throw away books. And she says it probably got lost in one of the moves that we made. But I've been looking for it. In fact, I've been Googling it. So if I find it again, I'll make sure to reread it and see if Los Osos. But it was the otherness, no? Osos, bears, apples, things that I had never seen, what made it really special.
What book captured your imagination as a reader in your teenage years before college?
Right before college, I discovered 19th century Spanish literature, el naturalismo español, these naturalistic novels, and one still my favorite is La Regenta, the Regent's Wife, by Leopoldo Alas Clarín. And it was another different reality. It was about a woman who lives in a small town in Spain. The town is called Vetusta, but it is really Oviedo in Asturias, not very well disguised. And I like it so much that 8 years ago I rewrote the ending of the book. I mean, it was a book, the novel is called La Regenta en La Habana, and it was published in Spain. It's about a Cuban literature professor who is teaching La Regenta and finds parallels in their lives and rewrites the ending. I don't know, it's kind of a feminist ending, so I don't think Clarín would have been happy with it, but that is still my favorite book, very much.
Is there a book that set you on your professional path?
Actually, I can't think of one particular book. That's a very difficult question, because so many books that I have read, so many books that have influenced me that I cannot just say, este no más, just this.
Is there a book in your work teaching that influences you?
It depends on what I'm doing or what I'm writing or teaching. Right now, I'm trying to write a memoir about growing up in Cuba. Entonces, I'm reading a lot of memoirs. And I think I get influenced, hopefully in a good way, not that I imitate, but well, by whatever I'm reading at the time. So I just finished Mennonite in a Little Black Dress by Rhonda Jensen. And I was curious about it because it's a small Mennonite community in Hobbs where I live now. What's this thing with these people? ¿Por qué se visten así? What very interesting book, you know. So I try to read whatever I hope that will influence me in a good way.
Is there a book you like to share with your friends and family or people you work with?
Not just one book. It depends on the language that the person speaks.
Well, in Spanish and in English?
En español o en inglés. So in Spanish, if people like poetry, I like to give anything by Gabriela Mistral. Chilean poet es muy especial. or Rabindranath Tagore, the translations by Juan Ramon Jimenez, early 20th century translation, really, really good. So for people who like poetry, esos dos. These